Do you have a dream in your heart? I know I do, and it's been there for 30 years now. I'm guessing that you probably found this video, maybe because I wrote a good headline and a thumbnail. I don't know. But honestly, I believe you're finding it because you're supposed to hear it. Because I'm recording this really to help me focus on what I'm working on. But I know that ultimately, to do the right thing, it'll help someone else. So, this is my channel, the WRF. It's consulting group, WRF consulting group, and this is the first video of 100 that I'm doing to find my voice, to help more people, and to really, I think, do what I'm supposed to do here on planet Earth. So, the dream that I've had in my heart since high school, since probably the 10th or 11th grade, was to own my own business. I've always had different ideas from having like trucking companies and owning a farm. I'm from the city, the inner city of St. Louis, but I spent my high school years essentially on my grandpa's farm. And that was, ultimately, it was the equivalent of me winning like the life lottery, in my opinion. For a lot of different reasons, but it helped me really form my work ethic, I guess. Not that I had a bad one, but just living on my grandpa's farm. He was a farmer, an iron worker, fought in World War II, so he knew what hard work was. So I learned that from him initially. So I think that put that spirit in my, I don't know, but that I wanted to do something on my own. And I'd started a couple things in high school through the FFA, which was, if you know me as like an inner city kid, and then I don't know that anybody I know will ever watch this, but I moved out to a rural area, and that was just different, right? It's different in a lot of ways. But I've had this dream to build this business. I didn't know what it was. And then after I got out of the Marine Corps, a good friend of mine, Chris, he recommended that I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that was long time ago, 2000. This is 2005, January of 2005. That was probably 2008, 2005, 6. I don't know. It was somewhere around then. My daughter was just born. She was born in 2006, so it was probably close to 20 years ago at this point. But I read that book and I realized I didn't have to stay down the career path that I was going on, because I got out of the Marine Corps and I just worked on automated equipment that I don't know how I got into that by chance. The guy who was hiring, his son was in the Marine Corps, so I guess he had an affinity for Marines. I don't know, he hooked me up essentially with a job, and it worked out, and I learned a really good skill set. But years later, when I would read that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I realized, I don't have to go down and do this same, I don't have to go down this career path. I can start my own business. And he talks about getting in sales in the book. And so that just changed my trajectory, serendipitously, maybe. I don't know. The events that would follow after that. I ultimately got into sales. It took probably a couple years to get a full-time sales job. I just, tried a lot of different things, and I'm not here to talk about all of them. I will later on. But this spirit that I've always had to start my own business and do my own thing and to serve other people, I didn't know how to harness it, but I knew it was there, which sounds weird. But it's been an interesting journey to figure out how to get it all out. So I've been in sales for 20 years-ish, 17, I guess, actually. So it's about 3 years from when I read that book until I got into sales full-time. But I did small little part-time jobs to kind of get a little bit of my teeth cut. But have had that dream, and then, I've had this goal to start this coaching/consulting company where I work with small and medium-sized businesses to help them with sales and marketing. Basically, what I've spent the last 20 years of my life learning and mastering. And I've had a relatively successful sales career. Some places more than other. There's been a couple places where I just completely shit the bed, and I beat myself up on that. I guess I still do. Maybe that's the competitive thing in me, because I know that it's drive. I don't know. trying to not go off like topic here, but so I've had that dream in my heart forever, and I've even written down resignation letters. And I'm curious if you're watching this, if that's something that you've ever done. Like 7 years ago, I remember really starting to do it. Probably one of the greatest points in my career to this point right now, to January 15th, 2025. I don't know greatest, but like most impactful. One of the most. I was in that piece of a journey that ultimately became most impactful, and where I really developed. Okay, this is what I want to do. So I remember writing a resignation letter to one of the best bosses I ever had, and yeah. So and then fast forward, here we are now, 7 years later since doing that. And other scenarios have popped up in my life that have just kind of kept pushing me in that direction. And ultimately, I think the friction gets so... I don't know how to explain it. I'm just going to express my feelings to really help me kind of process the last 3 or 4 months. But I know there's other people that are on this journey, and that also people in the future will be in that part of their story. And this will, maybe they'll find it somehow, and this will help them. But, the last couple jobs that I've had... wasn't at a lot of them very long, and kind of had this, whatever. And the friction, the resistance, the terror barrier, if you've done any of like some, different personal development stuff they talk about, the terror barrier. And I've always that's where you come up to this resistance where you're, I don't know how to explain it without, it's like, what does a banana taste like? You just got to eat it to figure out. It's kind of this, if you've gone through it or you're going through it, you know what it is, where it's just, you feel like it's the end of the world. Not like it from a depression standpoint. I don't mean that. But it's just like this darkness in your career, and you don't know what to do next, and you're worried that maybe sometimes that you're not. I'm saying I'm being funny when I say going crazy, because I've never thought that. But you kind of just question your the things that you've done, which I guess is ultimately healthy to do. So it's got me to the point where I was fired from a job. And that is what it is. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Thank you to the person that fired me. It was difficult that day. But it is what it is. So over the last I think next week Wednesday, it'll be 2 months that I've been officially unemployed, I guess. And it's been exciting over Christmas. It was oddly enough, it was one of the best Christmases I've ever had. And not from like a gift, standpoint, or like I was with my kids, which is the most important thing in the world to me. There was one thing missing, but like everything was perfect. You know what I mean? It just worked out. I just remember being like, oh, it is what it is. So it's been a lot of time to reflect. So now I've kind of taken that leap to going with building this company, WRF Consulting. And it essentially provides sales coaching and sales leadership to small and medium-sized businesses, marketing and advertising. And I'm being very just generic and high level now, because I'm not here to pitch the business. This is me finding my voice and talking, and kind of like my diary, right? So I'm building this business where I'm doing essentially, there's two things. So I'm building WRF Consulting, where I'm going to work with SMBs for marketing, develop their salespeople, SDR, just that whole world of sales and marketing it's kind of encompassed in there, or encased, whatever that word is. And then I'm also working on another business that I've had. It's a small kind of, really like a passion project. I used to have horrible anxiety, like a real anxiety disorder. Not like I was just a bitch sometimes or afraid of things, but times where I literally had OCD, like not just times, but like 20 years of my life where I had OCD, panic disorder, all kinds of just, if you've been down that road, derealization, depersonalization, agoraphobia, if you've been down that road, you know what I mean? So I've overcome that, and I've documented kind of that journey, what got me out of that. So I'm working on a little project with that. That's called the Peaceful Mind Blueprint. And again, not here to pitch that, but it's part of this. It's part of my journey. So I'm going down that road. So I was fired, and I'm building my dream, WRF, and it's scary as shit right now, because there's no guarantee that it's going to work. But maybe I think that's why, I don't know. That's just something in my DNA that wants to do that. But more importantly, I'm reading my notes here. I've decided to just be authentic. Just be authentic 100% of the time. Um, I've been in like at this corporate culture, and for years I thought like, oh, I just got to try to fit in better. I don't want to fit in. You know what I mean? Like I was never like out in left field with so I didn't say my behavior wasn't awful, but I just never felt like it's not really for me. And maybe that's normal. Maybe most people feel like that. They just do it because it's a job. I suspect that's what it is. But kind of just my nature of being not really like, not that I'm not a member of polite society, but it's kind of like the way I grew up and my philosophy. Like WRF stands for Warrior Revenue Factory. So it's kind of part of my nature. I think just from how I grew up and then being in the Marine Corps, like it's just shaped my philosophy. Not like violence, but just being passionate and committed to the things that you're doing and going all out. So it's more of like a spirit, a esprit de corps type of mentality. So that's been interesting to like see how that's unfolded and became more present to me in the last, well, let's call it 2 months. Because by the time I put this out, might take a couple days. I'm committed to doing one a day. But I was thinking I had to like record it and edit it and do all this shit in one day. I'm just saying, okay, I'm going to record something every day. And then maybe one day I'll sit down like once a week and just edit all 6 or 7 of them, make thumbnails and post them. But so I'm going to get more into what I've been doing, like the tactic wise, but on the sales and marketing side. But one of my biggest takeaways is over the last couple of weeks is I'm going through this like coaching program. It's like more like a book club really with this guy, David, that just found online watching some of his YouTube videos. Has an interesting story. And we review books. It's a group of people, a couple hundred people. I think he's gotten in there. I don't know. It's all over the Zoom, but he chats about, and there's you can chime in. Neville Goddard's book about your mind, how your mind works, and you just got, I don't know, it's not for everybody, but it's very interesting. And I have evidence, going through it, and it's like, oh, it's making a difference. And then Eckhart Tolle, I think, and then Charles Hahnemann is like the other couple books. Those are authors, but like just a couple of their books they chat about. But killing the ego is like the theme. That's my theme. It doesn't actually say that in there. It's about just present moment awareness and controlling your attention and your focus, which I've been studying for years, but it's taken me like 20 years, I feel, to just now kind of get like, okay, this is what it is. You know what I mean? And maybe you didn't come here to hear that, but that's like been part of this journey, is my focus and commitment and really thoughts and discipline, just kind of the mindset. I don't know. It's kooky to some people to even talk about, but I can testify over 20 years, I have a dramatically different life than I did 20 years ago. And I had a great life. I had healthy kids and, positive things in my life 20 years ago, but it's just drastically different, in all levels, and there has been ups and downs, just to be transparent. But yeah, so I was going somewhere with that. So what I've been up to is just killing my ego with the study and just present moment awareness, and then really focusing on like, okay, I have to serve people. That's who am I going to serve? Small businesses. I've got all that down. But just, processing some other like personal development stuff has been really eye-opening and been fun. It's scary but fun. Been good stuff. So what I've been doing, so I'm doing fractional sales leadership. I'm looking for clients. This is my daily activity. What I've been doing since the new year has been over, right? Because I got fired and there's like the holiday season. People were kind of working, and I kind of did, but I kind of just took the time, and now it's go time, right? I'm still kind of looking for a job, but I'm just going to be fucking honest with you. I don't know that I want one. You know what I mean? I have to be financially responsible, right? I'm, going to do that. And if you're watching this and you're in the same situation, like as man to man, we have to do that, right? but I'm gonna pursue my dream. There was other things that happened over the last couple months where I found out somebody that I hate. I don't want to say that I hated him, but I didn't like him. He died. He retired and he died, and that blew my freaking mind. It's just I didn't know. You can cry over it, but different. You know. Um, so that kind of made me think more and reflect on like, man, what's this dream you have? And not here to say tomorrow's never promised. I'm not one of those guys. Like I'm gonna live a long time. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm here. So like, let's just do something with it, right? It's not like a sob. There's no negativity to it or like negative thinking. Like, oh, you only got 40 years left. No, just get to work, dude. Like serve people and enjoy yourself. So I'm working on a campaign right now where I'm I'm doing online marketing to find a client. I really just want one or two clients right now to do fractional sales leadership for sales management, coaching, advertising, that kind of stuff. But I'm also focusing part of my time to try to generate more cash quickly is to do some interesting local small business direct mail campaigns. So I've been doing a lot of, I started in sales going door to door in Tampa, Florida, was my first sales job. And it was fun. You know what I mean? It sucked or whatever. I don't know. I just remember going, it was new to me at the time. So I'm 47. I'll be 47 this year. I'm back on the streets of Dallas, Texas, going door to door selling. And I've wanted to quit a lot. No, not a lot, but a couple times. I've wanted to, there's all kinds of excuses. So you go through all that still into sales 20 years. But just to keep, it's refreshing to even just push yourself. So I've been, going door to door, selling this marketing to small businesses, like restaurants, chiropractors, plumbers, people like that, right? And I'm just looking at some of my notes here. It says what it takes, guys like me. So just basically I'm realizing what it takes to build a business is essentially what I did 20 years ago when I started in sales. So I realized this is my thought process. Like I was gung-ho 20 years ago, and then I got into sales. And again, I still have a good career. And I learned so much. And here I am, like finally going, okay, I'm ready to do my dream, to live my, to do what I've always had in me. So I've got this space of time here, of my 20 years of experience. And I'm going to do something with that. And, so I, because it got me to, that's why I did all that, because of this dream inside of me. So, and then today I went to, and I've got like my back end system set up. So I've been doing the door to door cold calling. And I'm also doing email marketing, not like email blast. I'm going to do some of those, but I'm doing it just old school. I'm going to get into social because that's really what I want to help people do is online advertising and in print, right, still. But I'm going back to the old school, door to door. And then today, like I've got a CRM. I use HubSpot and I use this thing called System.io. And I'll probably put affiliate links in the bio for those here. Ultimately, I'm going to get back to using Go High Level. I think that's what I want to operate my business on. But just cost-wise, I got the free version of HubSpot, which I've used a lot. So I really know there's really almost no learning curve because I've used it a lot. If you have never used it, it's a little bit of a learning curve. I've used Salesforce a lot, but that's for big businesses, right? And then I'm using System.io to do all my funnels, and you can do email marketing there, but you can't do like schedule tasks and follow up. Where eventually when I switch to Go High Level again full time, it has all of that in there. But so I'm using those tools, and I needed a list. So it's like, okay, well, how do you get a list? I don't have Zoom info, so you can sit and mope and bitch around and go, well, I don't have all these tools, or you can be resourceful. And I remembered that libraries have free access to a software called Data Axle. I don't know that it's a competitor to Zoom Info. Maybe years ago it was. But it's just, I've used it in the past when I sold insurance part-time. I think I've used it for that. I've used it a couple times, but I don't remember what all it was for. But it's a subscription for $400 or $500 a month, depending on the plan you get. Some are more. I think you can get one for like 200, but it's not much. I went and just got the free one from. I didn't get the free one. I went to the library and used their Data Axle subscription. And again, it's not as robust as it's not exactly the same as what you pay for, but it's relatively close, and it gets you what you need as far as creating searches, because I knew the zip codes. So what I wanted to do, I'm doing this, my target clients, my ideal client profile or target client profile, whatever words you use, are in these 2 zip codes where I'm at in Dallas. And I want to target businesses with 1 to 50 employees. And you can pull that up in there for free. And you do a little bit more filtering, like only verified businesses or whatever. And you filter out like the 7-Elevens, because some of them are franchises and show up as like 2 people or whatever. So anyways, you go through all the stuff that you would normally go through. So I did that. And then tomorrow I'm going to work on, I've got like 2,000, which is more than I need, to be honest with you. I'm just going to hit the phones, and you got to do some research and get some emails. So it's back to the old school, right? For me, what I started out with. So it's kind of a good refresher. I'm excited to do it. It's a little daunting. Just to think of it. It's a lot of work. It's just work. It's just chop wood, carry water. That's what it is. It's just work that has to be done, and I'm doing it again. I could have done it. I could have worked 40 or 60 hours a week and did it years ago. After hours, like a lot of people talk about working PM shifts or whatever. And I have done that, just dabbling and learning over the years. But that's just what it takes, man. It's just going out there, going door to door. I am doing some stuff online through LinkedIn, just trying to get leverage my network on LinkedIn, and I'm making some outreach calls to people I know locally to do some consulting work. So it's fun. I'm learning that I thought I was relatively organized and good with time blocking, but it's just making me better. I just look at this as getting me better, and it's scary. So it'll be fun to watch this, in December of 2025. So Christmas time, I want to sit down and watch this video. And my goal is to do 100 live videos in a row to find my voice, but just to get it tweaked in, and then go into more deeper dive content on these, over the next couple months, and tie it into my other business that I've talked about, Peaceful Mind Blueprint. Part of recovering from anxiety is implementing a little bit more structure in your life to, like the 30-second or less explanation of what anxiety is like, it's just these constant what if thoughts right in your brain. So imagine if every one of those snaps were like a thought. What about this? What if, that's kind of what anxiety, very simple form, right? But it's controlling that is to have a structured day. And it ultimately, when you find your one thing, right, the thing that really kind of just inspires you. I'm not saying it's your purpose or you're here on earth to do it. I don't know that. People say that. Books say that. It's a good way to sell books. But I think when it makes you feel good, anything that makes you feel good and doesn't dilute others, right? So if it's positive overall, no matter how you look at it, which what I'm doing is, right, I'm helping other businesses generate revenue by helping other people. So they're going to help more people by me helping them. So that's a super positive thing, and that's very inspiring. And just doing the ego work and studying. So I'm getting up every day, and this isn't a thing about getting up at the 4 a.m. book club or whatever that shit is. And I've done that, years ago when I first got into sales. I did get up. I had to be to work at 7, so I got up at 3:30 and read books for 2 hours, something like that, and then drove to work or whatever it was. And I'm back to not necessarily doing that extreme, but just, being focused and committed and disciplined to my goals of creating this business to serve others and to really, I look at it as thriving, just thrive financially, off of my efforts, off of my own efforts. There's no salary guarantee, which is quite scary. When those deep, dark hours, or it's really just moments, to be honest, I don't dwell on it. I have pretty good control of my mind. Thank God. over the last 20 years, I've focused on controlling my thoughts. It's called subjective control, if you're interested, where I don't go down those rabbit holes. But sometimes I do, and it's very brief, and it gets scary, right? So just learning how to control that and to have present moment awareness. It's going to be an interesting ride, but I'm very committed to doing it, and I'm excited to talk more about this over my 100 days. And that's it. Thank you if you did listen to this. Thank you for listening to this. And there'll be some information in the bio down below if you, depending on when you're watching this, if you need sales coaching and marketing help, or say, if you need help increasing revenue for your business, and you don't know what to do, you've tried everything, you've had fractional sales managers, maybe you're the sales manager and you're at wit's end. It could be our little secret. Let's schedule a time to chat. I'm here to help you, and it could be a fun journey.